Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Philip Jones.
My name is Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coach. We coach people with stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease. If you or you know someone who has kidney disease and they need to be coached, please reach out to us, kidneycarecoach.com. Today, we are bringing you a great story, of great information, and we're always talking about on Let's Talk the most cutting edge information in the kidney dialysis community. And we're talking about today is an implantable 3D kidney that can be printed and replaced in your body for patients who are on dialysis or people with kidney. So let me read a little bit. According to TechCrunch News, Biologics, a small San Francisco startup company, has taken a big step on the path towards developing a viable 3D printed including kidneys for patients. Wow. Founded by research scientists, Corellis Biologics has moved closer to perfecting a new technology to manufacture capillaries, the one cell trick blood vessel that are the pathways which oxygen and nutrients move through nerves tissue in the body. This is really big right here, man. This is huge. We've been talking about uh, pig kidney, the pig heart in the man, and we've been talking about the artificial the artificial artificial kidney. Now we're talking about 3D printed kidneys. And what I was told when I read the article was they've already talked about this and they made a big step. And how they made a big step was they just manufactured a one cell thick blood vessel that is a pathway with which oxygen and nutrients can get to the kidney. And so this is, what I'm saying? So what I'm getting, Phil, is their challenge with this kidney is when you place this organ into the body, it has, the organ will work they said the organ will work for 4 months sustainably by itself, but it's going to have a oxygen supply, a nutrient supply, and that's what they're trying to figure out with these cells. And
Right.
they just found this cutting edge technology that is making this happen. And this 3D printed kidney is really close to being manufactured. What's your thoughts on this, bro?
I think it's another big step. It seems like every time we get on here, we talking about a bigger step in the kidney
Yeah.
community, which is a great thing. Um, Let me ask you this question: Is this kind of similar to the bioartificial kidney, where implanting these kidneys, you won't have to take rejection medications and things like that? Is it a something that goes off your body's natural cells and things of that nature to make this kidney or whichever organ it is are designing. Um, I know you
What
said that they're still trying to figure some things out. Um,
what
go ahead.
Go ahead. Are you asking me that? Do you have anything else to say?
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
answering your question.
Mm,
Well, I went to their website and I checked it out, man. I checked it out thoroughly and what they're saying is they can take your DNA
mm,
and put this in this super fast laser that can make these cells. And what they're saying is the cells have to be really tight together, like woven together. And that's what this
mm,
3D printing is. And they make the kidney, and the kidney is made from your DNA. Other words, when it is made from your DNA, we don't have to worry about rejection. So you're not taking any rejection medication. What they're finding out right now, what's the holdup so far was that it was like they said the biggest holdup was this one cell that they wanted to bring the blood vessels and the nutrients to the kidney, and they just came up with that technology now. And so you're right. So think about that, Phil, where we got something, and we talked about this, but they could take your DNA, take some tissue from you, or me, or whoever, put this tissue into these in the 3D printed machine, and you come out with your kidneys that were made for you as your native kidneys that work for you as a kid. And this kidney is a healthy kidney, and they place it right in your body, and you're ready to go. Man, this is crazy because we was just talking about a pig kidney. Now we're talking about biological kidney. Now we're talking about 3D printed kidneys in less than 6 months time that the technology has came out. What's your thoughts on this technology and the progression of it?
It's cutting edge, man. It's life changing. Um, to be able to put people in that situation, because we all know that the biggest reasoning for people losing their organs are the rejection medications. People stop taking them, and for some reason they stop taking them just because they ain't taking meds. Some take them because oh, I feel good, but don't understand that you feel good because you took those medications.
I
Uh,
learned my
you
lesson with
know,
that.
and so to put people in that position to where they can continue to live and not have to worry about possibly losing it, unless they just, the kidney failure thing happens. And that's the other thing. Can these organs fail like normal kidneys? Uh, you
Well,
know, uh, Go ahead.
the only reason I it sounds like they might not, because the only reason really kidneys really ever fail is because of rejection. So if it's your DNA, now and that's a good question. Let me say that that's a good question because you know, the body can still attack a kidney. And you know what, Phil? This is so new that I believe they're going to have to put them in people for us to know. It's going to be a time thing where, even when I remember when I was a personal trainer and I had a lot of people coming to me who had the gastric bypass surgery, you know, and they were like, Tafara, what do you think about, somebody cutting half their stomach off? Because, the gut has a lot to do with your health naturally. And when you cut half that stomach off, and they were asking me, and I was saying, this is what I was saying. I was like, well, it's still new. It's not even 20 years around. It's not 20 years old. The surgery's not. So I don't know. This surgery hasn't even been done. So Phil,
Right,
we can add every question that is asked about something like this is legit because they ain't been in nobody, so no one can tell. But let me
right.
ask you a question though, and this is the question I want to ask you, and I pose it to myself too. Would you take a 3D bioprintable kidney that's printed from your DNA and they're putting it in you? Would you take a kidney like that?
I would. I mean, again, um, with anything like that, for me, it always comes down to facts, right? So I need you to show me that this 3D printed kidney can work 10 years, can work 15 years. I'm not too much tripping off
I don't
of.
think they have that out, Phil. I don't think they have
Well,
that
I know they don't.
information out.
I know they don't. Now, now if you tell me, hey, we want you to be the first and to try it, I probably would still do it because that could mean that it could last 10, 15 years. I mean, we don't know. It might, a ground and reject like 4 months later or whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
But which ain't gonna be different for me because I'm just gonna be back in the same situation I'm already in. So, I mean, I think when you've been on dialysis as long as I am now, you have been on, when that happen, you pretty much take any opportunity possible, because
Mhm.
it's like how much worse could this get? I've been on dialysis for 10 to 12 years. So, me going back ain't gonna be no issue. I think it's a harder transition back to dialysis. Um if you're only on for 6 months, a year, maybe. Like I was the first time I was only on for 6 months. So when I, and had to go back on 3 years later, and I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Right.
Like it was uh hard for me to transition back into but it was hard because it was dialysis in general. But what made it halfway easier was I didn't have to jump straight into peritoneal dialysis. I was able to go to the center. Now, granted, going to center is what caused the issues that I have, um, but yeah, I would take that opportunity. If they wanted to give, try it on me. Um, but if it's like in the future and they say, hey, we're starting to come out with this, okay, then at that point for them to say we want to come out with this, they would have had to have already tested it on people. So then at that point I would say, let me see what these facts look like. Now again, if it's just they just coming to me like, hey, we want you to be the first to try this, yeah, no
I think,
problem.
yeah, I think with the information coming out, I believe, and you heard me say this before. You heard me say this on the show. In 10 years, the landscape is going to look totally different. It says right here, and they're talking about how they're working with this thing. They're working with it all the time. And again, they just made a big discovery where they can use the capillaries. I'm going to read this right here. They said, basically, without functioning capillary structure, it is impossible to make organs. They say so. You got to have the capillaries, and they have to be tight. It said, according to Dr. Matthew, they're the most vital piece of the puzzle in the quest to print viable hearts, livers, kidneys, and lungs. She said the good news is that after making a small $3 million investment, Pirellis Biologics has now published findings indicating that it can manufacture those capillaries at a size and speed that would deliver 3D printed organs such as kidneys, heart, lungs to the market within the next 5 years. And see, that's what I'm talking about. God, dog, man, the speed of the information and the speed of them doing these things. You mean to tell me they're talking about? I mean, they're going on record saying in 5 years we can make you an organ. We can make you an organ that's ready to go implanted in your body. Nothing else needed. That's amazing. To me, that's remarkable. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My main thing is always looking at the rejection side to it, or hoping, because I want to see people, keep these organs and live with them, and stuff like that. Um, so to put
But
them in
Phil,
a
but Phil, but listen to this though. They're making these organs, and especially the 3D printed organ. The main objection to making it is because to cut the weight down, and and they said it's from your DNA where it can't reject. It's from your DNA. So, and I'm not saying nothing else can go wrong. There's you know, anytime something's new, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. But rejection might not be one of
well, rejection in a sense is different from failure.
them.
Um,
It is. It is. You're
and
right.
so rejection to a degree is not the 100% thing that I'm talking about. My question is, if this organ works as a natural organ, even though it's being made, can it still fail like your native kidneys can? That's my question.
I think the body can attack it like your native kidneys got attacked. I mean, our bodies, especially if you have an immune deficiency or if you have a, you know, glomerulonephritis, if it's in your blood or something like that, that's a good possibility. Now, what you're saying right there could be, something. And again, anything that you say is valid because this thing isn't out. So you and I can stand here and we can make question after question after question, and it's all legit because the thing hasn't worked in anybody yet that we know of. So that's pretty remarkable. I want to read something else. It says the speed is critical for building tissues like kidneys and lungs because it means that cell death doesn't occur and the tissue being printed remains viable. While the ability to print within structures means that technology can generate the internal scaffolding to support and sustain the organic material that surrounds it, according to the company. So, wow, this is huge, man. This is huge. It says this too. It says, while this is fantastic news on progress, it is still important to meter your excitement since the nature of research is that it can be met with setbacks and challenges. And that's where you're going. And I agree with you, man. Just like we thought the bio artificial kidney would be out by now, 22. I think I heard about it in 17. So we were thinking, by now it would be out. But it got setbacks too. And I think all these things are going to have setbacks. And I'm happy that they're finding out the setbacks before they implant them.
Well, with the bioartificial kidney, I think the major setback was the fact that they had to work during COVID, right? So everybody had to take that time off from being in the office. They shut down. Now granted, some people in those positions are called essential workers because they help things move along in the world and things like that, which I understand. But I'm sure some of them was like, I'm not going in. Which means that if you only have one person in a specific position, this is the only person that we have that can do XYZ, right? They may have been hired for one specific job to do. And if they're the only one that they had and they decided to stay home from COVID, then that's gonna slow down the progress. So I believe that if COVID wouldn't have happened, it probably would have been out by now. That's just my thinking. I could be completely wrong
The
about that.
reason
I
why I
do
say
think
the
it
reason
took
why I
a
say
good.
I was just gonna say the reason why I kind of don't agree with that is because COVID. I mean, these people are specialists, man. They're into it. They're passionate like we are. They're coming because they want to see these things get made. So, and it's just a handful of specialized knowledge people. And when you look at their websites and everything, these people are so specialized in what they do. You're right. It could have been COVID, could have slowed them down, but I think just the challenges of itself of trying to make something that's biological and putting people, the challenges are going to be there whether COVID or not. So they're going to have setbacks
Yeah.
regardless. So
Well, I
that's
wouldn't say that that COVID necessarily even presented I think the setback, because again, if without it, I think it may have been possibly out by now or a year ago or whatever. Because I do think that COVID took some time off from them working on it. That could have been that time that they figured everything out, right? Because like you said, these people are specialists in their field, so there's not too many of them. So
you're right.
that's what I'm saying. Some people, uh, they have it. I'm like me, right? I mean, granted, being I have this thought process maybe because I'm a transplant patient, right? But at the time, going through school, um, I was getting all this information before it even really like fully came out that we about to do shutdown and stuff like that. Like a week before, I remember we went to a week before it shut down. It was like literally a week because it was like the Wednesday before we went to the store. Right now, some people knew about this because the stores was already starting to get flooded with people and stuff like that. And I remember I said like that weekend, I'm not going back to school. I'm not going in there if this thing is going around and people got it and they don't know it. And I that weekend was like yeah, this is a wrap for me. I'm like, either they're going to drop me from these classes or make it online for me because I'm not going in. And I have a reason not to. I have a reason to tell them that I'm not coming to school in this particular situation. So some people think that way, you know, once they rather put themselves in a safer environment than do what they do on a daily basis. So I'm sure that they had some people that are specialists that are like, I'm not dealing with excuse me, with COVID, you know, so I'm not going in. And so they took some time off, which probably slowed down the process because when you deal with specialists as in a group as opposed to a group of people who all know this who have the same knowledge, when you have a group of people that have the same knowledge, they can continue working because they all know what they're doing. But when you have a team of specialized people and you subtract one, you slow down the process of things getting progressed because you don't have that person to work on whichever specialty they got hired for. So I'm sure if they had anybody like that, that it slowed down uh, the progress um, in them making this bioartificial kidney. If they had everybody and they just said we're just gonna take our time, then I can understand that as well. But I think COVID played a part in slowing down the process of
I
progression.
think I think the nature of what they're trying to do is going to bring setbacks. You know,
Oh,
I don't want
definitely,
to
I
blame.
agree with that
I
as
don't.
well.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily say, oh, it's COVID, somebody caught the flu, or this. I think the nature of when you're trying to do something so monumental that it brings challenges in the first place. So it doesn't, it doesn't have to have anything to do with COVID, or it may be, you might be onto something right there. But even with that being said, this is a monumental thing they're trying to, do. It's gonna bring challenges. But going back to what we're talking about again, I'm really impressed. I'm really quite happy in the transplant field of organs in general, heart, lung, liver, kidney, pancreas. Bless you.
Thank you.
Um, that 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 we're seeing the evolution of these big companies, or small companies, I should say, doing monumental things in this field. Because for a period of time, you didn't hear anything going on. You didn't hear anything going on in this world like this. Now we're seeing companies that are specializing in doing dialysis better, especially home hemo, and even with the peritoneal dialysis with the cycler, all those things. When I was on dialysis, none of those things were out. It was just home. It was just hemo, in center hemo, manual peritoneal. Now we got all types of variations. So I don't have anything else to say. I'm just happy with the progress that we see right now. And the 3D kidney, I'm looking forward that forward. I'm looking forward to all of them coming out, but I'm really looking forward towards the 3D kidney, the printed 3D kidney. To me, that's gonna be one of the big time game changers. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to it as well because, like you mentioned yesterday, with all these different ways to receive an organ, what's going to happen is there'll be different parts to the list. Like, you know, we kind of got that already now, but you'll be able to add more ways to it. You know, you got high risk kidneys and thing, you know, or organ and things like that, in ways that you can go, you know, that they ask you about before time. You know, would you be okay with taking a high risk kidney, or would you like this
Hmm.
type of kidney, or whatever, you know, or organ in general? So I think that just adds to the list. Like you said yesterday, it cuts down on the wait time because there are these different ways, and everybody's not gonna go with the same thing. So it's not just gonna make the list go from one to another. You know, it's these people are gonna take different ways. Some will say I'm fine with the pig, you know, or kidney, or I'm you know good with the heart, or I'm good with the 3D, or I'm good with the stem cell, or whatever the case may be. So it definitely will cut down on the wait time because people won't be going just all to the same thing. They'll be going to different stuff. They're like, I want something. Just give me a transplant or do what you got to do, so I don't have to be on dialysis anymore. I don't have to have an LVAD or deal with these liver issues or things of that nature. So it's definitely going to be or is a game changer um, to the organ donation world, transplant world. So looking forward to 100%. Uh, Great show. Got back here tomorrow morning. Excuse me. 10 o'clock, same time tomorrow, and we will
One
see you
o'clock
all.
Eastern.
What'd you say?
1 o'clock Eastern.
1 o'clock Eastern for sure. Yes. 6 o'clock in the UK, and I only know that because we just recently had Ali on, but and then we'll have D-More on this Sunday. That's also in the UK as well. So looking forward to that. Most of you guys know her from her podcast that she does called Diary of a Kidney Warrior, and so she's been on a number of different other podcasts as well as a guest. So definitely looking forward to having her on. So we'll see you all in the morning. Have a great rest of the week. Some days we right there in the middle of the week, and get through it as safe as possible. And we'll see y'all in the morning.
Peace.